Good morning, everyone. Today is May the 9th, Thursday. I hope all is enjoying this beautiful day and staying inside and keeping safe, making sure we're washing our hands at least for 20 minutes occasionally, making sure we're keeping everything good and sanitized. I just really miss everyone, and I just read on Facebook the message that we may have to be doing some learning from home all the way up until May the 11th. And we don't really know for sure. We're just kind of waiting on, what the government is telling us to do. So I just really pray that each and every one of y'all are staying safe. So today we're going to work on our unit review. This is Unit 2 review. This is numbers and operation of fractions. In our instructions, it says read each question and select the correct answer. And then it also says on this review that you may use a calculator. So I know on some parts of our tape test that it does let you use a calculator. So I just really want y'all to know how to do this, how to work each problem out. Besides, I know some of you struggle with multiplication, and some of you may want to work the problem out yourself and then go back and check it with a calculator. That would be fine also. Alright, so let's look at number 1. It says, which of the following are equal to 5/8? And then it says, select the 3 that apply. And I know when I've been going and grading papers, a lot of times when it says select 1, 2, or 3, we miss that. So I want to make sure that y'all are reading the question properly. So in this one, it's telling us to apply. There's 3 that are going to apply. So let's start off with these problems. We're going to work these out together. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always email me or you can send me instant messenger on Facebook. Okay, so let's start off with A, because we're going to have to work each and every one of these problems to see which one is going to equal to 5/8. Okay, so let's start off with A. So instead of me writing this problem out, let me just look at this and try to go. Let's do this round. Okay, so we know that the denominators are the same, so all we're going to do is add. So we know simply this is going to be simply 5/8. So we know just by looking at A that is going to be definitely one of our 3. Okay, so let's look at B. So B, all the denominators are the same, so we're just going to add. And we have 5 ones, so we're just going to say 5/8. So B is our second choice. So let's go right on to C. C says it's the same denominator, so we're going to keep it. And so this is going to be over 4, and we're just going to simply add. And so we have 5/4. And so we know that is definitely not going to equal to 5/8. So we know it's not C. Let's look at D. D. We know by looking at this, we're going to have to find a common denominator that is going to go into 6 and 2. Now, we know the common denominator is going to be 6, so we know that 5/8 is not ever going to come up with this answer. So we're not even going to work this problem out. We know just by looking at it that is not going to work. Alright, so let's go to E. So E, we can look at it and we know the denominators are the same, so we're just going to add. So 5 plus 2 is going to equal, 3 plus 2 is going to equal 5. So we have 5/8. Now that is right there, we know, is our third problem. We only have to do 3. So if you want to go ahead and do F, just in case we might have missed one of them, let's go ahead and work F out. So we know 5 plus 1 is going to equal 6/8. So we have our 3. So we know number 1 is going to be A, B, and E. Alright, so let's go to number 2. Okay, so let's look at number 2. So Kyle sprinted for 1/4 of a mile. Ron sprinted the same distance. Which of the following represents the distance Ron sprinted? And then it says select the 3 that apply. So we know on this problem we're going to have 3. So let's look at A. So number 1, we can look at A, and we know that 2/4, we know we can reduce that, and that's going to reduce by 2. So 2 will divide into 2 one time, and then 2 is going to divide into 4 2 times. So we know number 1 is going to be 1/2. So we know that's not right. So let's look at B. 3/4, there's really nothing we can do with it. It's not going to reduce anymore, so we're just going to leave it the same. So we know it is not B. Now let's look at C. So C, we know that we can divide equally into 2 and 8 by 2. So we know if we divide, 2 will divide into 2 one time, and then we know that 2 is going to divide into 8 4 times. So there we go. We have 1/4. So we know that is 1/4. So C is going to be our answer. So let's look at D. So we know that 3 and 12 is both going to divide into 4. Or I'm sorry, not 4, but into 3. So we know that 3 is going to divide into 3 one time. And 3 is going to divide into 12 4 times. So there's our second 1/4. So we know that we have C and D. So let's look at E. So E is 7/8. There's no way to reduce 7/8, so we're just going to leave it alone. So we know our problem has to be F. So let's go ahead and just work F out just to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Which some days I kind of wonder, just have better days than others. So let's see if I'm on my game today. So we know that 5 and 20 will both divide into 5. So we'll go into 5 one time. And then 5 is going to go into 24 times. And there is our answer, 1/4. Okay, so let's go straight into number 3. So number 3 reads, Ben reads 2/6 of a book during the weekend and 3/6 of the same book during the week. How much of the book has been read? So we know we can simply just look at number 3, write out our problems. We're going to have 2/6 plus 3/6. Our denominators are the same, so we don't have to do anything but just simply add. And so our answer is going to be 5/6. And that is it, B. Okay, so let's go to number 4. Alright, number 4 reads, Marcy bought 3 3/4 pounds of apples and 1 2/4 pounds of oranges. How many pounds of fruit did Marcy buy? So first off, what are we going to do? So first, let's take our fractions and let's work them out and to get them to proper fractions. So right now, what we're going to do, let's write out our problem to start off with. So we have 3 3/4. And so we know when we have those problems, we're going to add, because it's asking us how much fruit did Marcy have. So we're going to add 3 3/4, and we're going to add that plus 1 2/4. So we know we're going to have to work these problems out to get them into proper fractions. So the way I like to do this is I like to see this. 4 times 3 plus 3. And I'm going to put this over 4. And so when I work this out, it's going to work out 4 times 3 is going to be 12. And then we're going to add 3 more, and that's going to give us 15. And so we're going to have 15 over 4. And then I'm going to work out the 2 and 1/2. So I'm going to say 4 times 1 plus 2. And keeping our order of operations, over 4. So we're going to say 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is going to give us 6. And so we're going to have 6 over 4. And so then I'm going to write out our problem. It's really going to read 15 over 4 plus 6 over 4. And that's going to give me 21 over 4. Not done yet. We know when we have our denominator smaller than our numerator, we can simply divide. And that's going to give us our answer. So let's work this problem out. So we're going to say 4 divided by 21, and that is going to go 5 times, and 5 times 4 is 20, and we're going to have a remainder of 1. So our problem is going to be written 5 and 1/4, and that is going to be B is our answer. Alright, so let's look at number 5. So number 5 reads, a fruit salad weighs 6 pounds. If 15 people share the salad equally, how much fruit salad will each person eat? And so basically all it's wanting us to do is to, write this in a fraction. So we're going to write this as, so we're going to simply write this fraction out right here as 6 over 15. Now we can reduce this because these will both reduce by 3. So we're going to say 6 divided by 3 is going to give us 2. And then 3 will divide into 15 5 times. And so that's going to give us 2/5 of a pound. And so number 5 is going to be B. Okay, let's go right into number 6. So Fran cut a pizza into 10 equally sized slices. She ate 1 piece for lunch and 3 more pieces for dinner. How much of the pizza did Fran eat? So all we're going to do is we're going to simply say, well, we know she ate 1 out of 10 slices one day, and then the next day she ate 3 out of the 10 slices. So we have the same denominator, so we're just going to simply add our numerator, and we're going to have 4 over 10. So number 6 is A. Number 7. How many 1/4 cup servings are there in 3 cups of trail mix? I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I love some trail mix. So let's work this problem out. So we have, I'm going to write this out as, choose the color, 3 over 1, and then we're going to divide that by 1/4. So we know anytime we divide, all we're going to do is we're going to flip our number here. So it's going to be 4 over 1, and then we're just going to multiply it out. So we know 3 times 4 is 12. It's going to give us 12 over 1, and our answer is going to be 12, which is A. Let's go to number 8. Number 8 reads, each person on a hike will drink 7/8 gallon of water. If there are 5 people on the hike, how many gallons of water will be needed? So number 8, we're just going to simply write this problem out. We're going to have 7 over 8, and then we're going to multiply it times 5 over 1. So we know 7 times 5 is 35, and 8 times 1 is 8. And we know anytime we have the denominator larger than the numerator, we can simply divide. So we're going to say 8 will divide into 35. How many times? 4 times. So 4 times 8 is 32, with 3 remaining left over. So our problem is going to be simply written out as 4 and 3/8, which is going to be B. Alright, let's look at number 9. So number 9 reads, a photographer in a magazine has 1/2 of a page by 3/4 page. What fraction of the page is the photograph? So we know we can simply go, write it out, 1/2, and we're going to multiply by our keywords, and then we're going to say 1/2 by 3 over 4, and we're just simply going to multiply. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 2 is 8. And so our answer is going to be C, which is 3/8. Okay, let's look at number 10. So number 10 reads, if 4 people equally share a 1/2 gallon container of frozen yogurt, what fraction of a gallon will each person get? So let's write out our problem. We're going to write 1/2. And that's going to be divided by 4/1, representing our people. It's, when we write out the fraction, we're just going to simply say 1/2 times 1/4. So we're going to flip it and multiply it out. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 4 is 8. And so our answer is going to be B for number 10. Let's go right into number 11. A recipe calls for 2 cups of blueberries and 4 cups of strawberries. How many cups of blueberries are there for every cup of strawberry? So let's simply, it's just asking us what fraction is it going to show. And so our fraction is going to be B 2/3. Let's go right into question number 12. Alright, in number 12, it asks us which products are less than 1. And then there it's going to show us our questions. Select the 3 that apply. So let's look and see if we can figure out the 3 that are going to apply. So let's work out the first one on number 12. So first off, we're going to read this as, let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. No. Make this a little bigger. I can work some of these problems out just right here. Alright, so look at number 1. So number 1A says 9 times 1 is 9. And then 2 times 4 is 8. Now we know when we have the denominator smaller than the numerator, we can just divide these out. So let me divide this out up here, out of the way. 8, we know 8 is going to divide into 9. 1 times 8 is 8. And so we're going to have 1 left over. So our answer for A on number 12 is going to be 1 and 1/8. So we know that is not our correct answer. So let's look at B. So B reads 2 times 4 is going to be 8. And then 3 times 6 is going to be 18. So we know we can reduce this problem. And we can divide this by, say, 8. And we can divide this by 2. So let's divide by 2. So 2 will divide into 8 4 times. And then 2 will divide into 18 9 times. And so we are less. So we know B is our answer. One of our 3 answers. Alright, so let's look at C. So C, let's go ahead and work this problem out. Sorry about that, I went over a little bit. So we know, let me go ahead and write C. I'll put it up here. C. So we're going to have 5/6 times 2/9. We know this, so 5 times 2 is 10. And then we know 9 times 6 is 54. So C is definitely another one of our answers, because it is less than 1/2. Alright, let's look at D. So D reads, let's go ahead and work D out. So we know 8 times 6 is going to be 48. And then 7 times 4 is 28. Okay, so let's go ahead and divide this out. D there. We'll say 28. We'll divide into 48. And we know that's only going to go 1 time. So we're just going to subtract. And we're going to have 20 left over. And so we're going to have 1 and 20 over 28. So this is more. So we know it is not D. Let's go right into E. E reads 5 times 10 is 50. And then 8 times 3 is 24. And so let's go ahead and divide this out. So we're going to say 24 divided by 50. We know that will go 2 times. So that's going to be 2. and 2 over 24. So we know it's definitely not E. So let's look at F. So F, we're going to go ahead and divide it out. 3 times 7 is 21. And then 4 times 8 is going to be 32. No way to reduce it. But we know it has to be F. So, because that would be our third problem. Okay, so let's go to number 13. Alright, so let's get right into number 13. So Franklin buys 5 3/8 cubic yards of soil. He uses 4/5 of the soil for a landscaping project. How many cubic yards of soil did Franklin use? So let's go ahead and take this in proper fraction and make it proper. And let's say 8 times 5. And then we're going to add that plus 3. So we're going to put that over 8. And so we're going to say 8 times 5 is 40. Plus 3 more is going to give us 43. So we're going to start off our problem with 43 over 8. So let's say 43 over 8. And we're going to multiply that times 4 over 5. So we're going to multiply 4 times 43 is going to give us 172. And then we're going to take that 172 and we're going to say, 8 times 5 is 40. Let me erase this really quick right here so I have plenty of room to do our next step. So our next step is going to be, we know anytime our denominator is smaller than our numerator, we are going to divide. So let's go over here and let's divide 40 divided by 172. And so 40 is going to divide into 172 4 times. So 4 times 0 is 0. And 4 times 4 is 16. So let's go ahead and subtract this. So let's go 2 and 1. So then our end result is going to be 4 and 12 over 40. And we're like looking at that and going, that looks like that will reduce. So we know that, neater we can read what I wrote. We know that just by looking at this, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, 4 will divide into 12 and 40. So our next step is going to be, let's go ahead and reduce this. We're going to go ahead and put our whole number over our 4. And we know that 4 will divide into 12 3 times. And that 4 will divide into 40 10 times. So this is going to be our actual end result is 4 and 3 over 10, which is C. Alright, so let's go right into number 14. And it reads, a picture frame covers an 1/2 square foot area on the wall. If the length of the frame is 3/4 foot, what is the width of the frame? So we know by reading this, we are going to divide. So let's look at what our problem is going to look like. And it is going to look at like 1/2 divided by 3/4. So we know we are going to flip our number. So we're going to say 1/2. And we're going to multiply that by 4 over 3. Just multiply that out. 1 times 4 is 4. And 2 times 3 is 6. So we know there again that we can reduce. And we know by looking at this at 2, it's my favorite number to always simplify by. And you can divide, 2 will divide into 4 2 times. And 2 will divide into 6 3 times. Which is giving us the simple answer here of C, 2 over 3 foot. Alright, so let's go on to our next slide here. Alright, so if y'all have any questions, please make sure that you send me an email, math1jgcc@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook Instant Messenger through our Job Corps account. Also, I have assignments up for you in IXL.com. Your username is your first name 1 at jobcorps.com. Password is going to be joyful1. Also, you can go into Tape Academy. The web address is essential.com/. /start/GadstonJC. Your username again is going to be your first name 1, and password is going to be happy1. Again, I hope y'all are staying safe. I miss y'all. I think one of the best things that we do here at Job Corps is we keep in communication. I love speaking to my coworkers every day on our conference call. Really miss you, Miss Truelove, Miss Cardwell, Miss Williams. You're awesome. Thank you for all your help, and all my other coworkers. I miss y'all. Thank you for all that you do. See y'all tomorrow.